4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
What's going on, guys? I fix shit in your face, Daniel. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. I have helped people save themselves hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years working on motorcycles and scooters and ATVs and jet skis. And I've got two motorcycles that I want to talk about today that are just a nightmare to work on if you happen to get your hands on one. And we're going to go over a few specific reasons as to why. So don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe. Let's do all that. We'll get started here. I think the first bike that I really want to talk about here as probably being one of the worst motorcycles to work on, the absolute worst motorcycles to work on, is going to be the Yamaha Vstar 650. And let me tell you something, Yamaha sold a ridiculous amount of these bikes. The early versions were definitely carbureted, and these are the ones that I'm going to be actually taking a hack at, because unfortunately I am somebody who has worked and put their hands on hundreds of motorcycles, and I gotta tell you, I have serviced lots and lots and lots of bikes in my time, and these bikes happen to be the worst absolute ones to work on. And the reason why is because it is extremely difficult to set the float height values on a Vstar 650. This also falls under the 1100 Vstar. Both of these are a pain in the absolute butt because of the procedure required to do it. It is not a normal procedure. It is something that Yamaha has made very specific to these bikes. If any of you guys have an owner's manual, you will understand if you go in there and you look up how to set float height value as one of the maintenance things that have to be done, you will understand immediately why it is such a pain in the butt. You can't just do it with regular tools. Like normally you would just flip the carburetor upside down and drop the float, and then you would take your float height measurement tool and put it on there, and then you would bend the tang that's there until you get it within tolerances of where it should be. Not with this bike. With this bike, it requires a whole bunch of extra process. Carburetor in the bike, set it a little bit, hook a whole extra tube up to it, make sure the gas is up to a reasonable level, try to test it. Oh, it didn't work well. Pull everything apart again, readjust the twang, put it back in the bike. I am telling you now, it is an absolute nightmare. A nightmare to set the float height value on a 650 or an 1100 Vstar. Because that is the case, I will not purchase 650s or 1100s anymore to work on. I may work on one for somebody else depending on what the issues are, but it is one of the main reasons why I just avoid this bike. Because when it has carburetor problems, it is a ungodly nightmare to resolve on those bikes. And I'm sure there's people out there who can be like, oh, it's super simple, you just gotta do it. It's the internet. Everybody has a tact way that they do things. But I have put my hands on enough of these now to know that it is a bike that I will not work with unless it's already running fairly well. Like if I'm going to buy one to fix up and then resell, I will make sure that it runs and drives without issue before I pick it up, because it is such a nightmare to work on. That is bike number one. Those are two bikes in the same category, and they're both from Yamaha. That being said, I do have another one, and this one is from Kawasaki. And it also has an attached bike to it that is kind of the same way. Okay? So my first two is the Vstar 650 and 1100 carbureted. Absolute nightmare bike to own and do your own maintenance on. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of shops that don't take motorcycles that are older than 10 years old now to work on them. So big pain in the butt to own that bike. Once it starts having carburetor problems, if I was you, I would just get rid of it. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. I would just get rid of it. But that's just me. That's what I would do. There's a point where you just kind of have to go, God, this is way too much work. It shouldn't be this hard. Lord knows why Yamaha ever decided to do the float height setting values in the fashion that they do them, but it's just such a major pain in the butt to do it on the 650s and 1100s that I just won't touch their bikes anymore. I don't even want them in for work at my shop. I don't want to take them. I don't. I've been to too many of them now that have just been such a tragedy to work on over the years, and I just don't want to do it anymore, so I won't. And I'm trying to pardon that information off on you guys. The second set of bikes is the Kawasaki Ninja 250, the newer ones, okay, the Ninja version of it from 08 and up to about, what, I think it was 2012? I think 2012 was the final year, so 08 to 2012, I believe that's right. And then, of course, the Ninja 500 R from pretty much all years. Man, what a nightmare to get the carburetors out of those bikes. Though the carbs are easy to work on once you do it, getting the carbs out, holy cow. I buy them all the time, and I'm just gonna, at this point, I feel like I'm just gonna stop buying them unless they're running already and driving, and they just need some other little fixes and maintenance and stuff like that, because every time I get one, I always forget that the process to remove the carbs is so massive unless you're planning on removing the filter, the onboard filter or the OEM filter box, and switching over to pod filters, which then requires a lot of carburetor tuning and upjetting and things like that if you're going to switch to the K&N pod filter setup. Or you do what I do, where I modify each one that I get now and I build my own constant velocity airbox for it that is removable, that makes the carbs extremely easy to remove. Otherwise, you have to remove the entire rear end of the bike almost. Complete wheel disassembly, all the way up through the plastics of the rear tail housing and all of that just to get the carbs out. The Ninja 500R is a little bit easier on that process, but still, what a pain in the butt it is to work on that bike as well. Getting the carbs out and popping them back on is just such a nightmare unless you switch over to a pod filter setup. So out of all the bikes that I put my hands on over the years, the two most hated ones are definitely the Ninja 250R from 2008 to 2012 and the Ninja 500R basically all years, and the Yamaha Vstar 650 carbureted versions, all of them, and the 1100 carburetor versions, all of them. I think if I had to add a third one to this list, it would definitely probably be the Suzuki Intruder. Once again, another bike that it is a nightmare to work on the carburetors on. There is so much involved and so much just crap in the way. You have to question why motorcycle companies design bikes that are this difficult, because I promise you, even the mechanics that work at these dealerships with these bikes don't want to touch these bikes. They get probably pretty frustrated when one hits the shop for service. I guarantee you they do. It's like there's just certain vehicles on the market, like normal cars, that you just don't want. Like, who install a tucked engine? For what? Why? Worst design ever. Any vehicle with a tucked engine, worst design ever. Whoever came up with the idea of a tucked engine and an uprooted firewall where it exceeds over the top of the engine so you can't work on anything, stupid. Just stupid. You got to ask yourself what the person sitting in the developer room was thinking when they were coming up with the concept design for these cars. You know, anything with a tucked engine, just stupid. I wouldn't buy a vehicle with a tucked engine. Ever. I just would not get a tucked vehicle engine in anything. Well, it's the same with bikes. There's just certain bikes I won't touch. This is one of them. These 4 bikes are those bikes. Those are the bikes that I will get every once in a while if I think it's going to take a very small amount of effort to get it working. What is going on here with traffic? I don't understand. These people keep making me slam my brakes on for no reason. It's like people are just stopping in the middle of the road for no reason. There's literally no reason for what's happening right now. I don't get it. Traffic should just be flowing. It's a Saturday. Let's go, folks. What is going on here? Anyways, those are my most hated bikes to work on. I suggest, if you don't know anything about bikes and you certainly don't want to go down that route of chasing working on these bikes, and this being your first bike to learn how to fix, don't do it to yourself. Nightmare bikes, just if it's not running good already, I wouldn't buy it. These are those three or four bikes, maybe even five bikes that I just would not touch with a 10-foot pole if they're not running good, or you don't have any background understanding of how engines and carburetors work, and you're not willing to go down the road with these bikes and have a decent tool set, as well as willing to purchase extra tools to finish the job. I would avoid these bikes. They're just bikes not designed for beginners. They may have been beginner bikes when they were released, but you know, these bikes are so old now that when people let them sit, holy man, do they just acquire a ton of problems that need to be resolved. Now, somebody like me can resolve those problems. Whether it's worth my time, energy, and effort and frustration of creating new cuss words in the garage to do it, I'm not sure. I don't think so. So I've come up with my list of 5 bikes that I just won't touch with a 10-foot pole anymore unless they already run and drive good. I just won't go near them. I don't even want to touch them. This is the person. You are the problem. This person is the problem right here. They are so confused and have no idea where they're going. Yeah, dude, problem. Holy mackerel. That was some ignorant driving from that person. I just want to throw that out there. I didn't cuss, but ignorant. All right, guys, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Toodles.